Assalamu alaikum. Can all of y'all hear me? Can I get
Yes,
some
ma'am.
thumbs up? Thank you. Thank you so much. So I am Zuhara Rizwan, first year medical student, University of Sri Jagadhanapura. So as you might have informed earlier, I'm going to teach about cardiac conduction and cardiac cycle. It's pretty much a very small topic, so I think we might be able to finish it very early. But then let's try to do some questions, all right? So I'll be sharing the screen now. Can all of y'all see my screen? Can I get some thumbs up if you actually can see my screen? Okay, thank you. So I might not be able to see your messages in between. So please feel free to unmute and then speak to me if you all have any doubts. Don't wait until the last moment, or else also we can discuss questions at the last time.
Can miss.
Okay, thank you so much. So without further ado, I think let's start so that we can finish it earlier. So today we'll be learning about cardiac conduction, and I think this is very big in the entire circulatory system. Is pretty much easy to understand when you take the LL syllabus, unit 5. But then there are you have to learn about the development of the circulatory system, the lymphatics, the arterial system, the venous system, and then the pulmonary and the cardiac system. Okay, so I'm going to cover only a small part today. So you should be able to know everything and write answers for essays when you go to the exam. Inshallah, have enough practice you might have when you go to the exam. So let's start. So cardiac conduction is like the electrical activity of the heart. Okay. So cardiac conduction consists of 3 components. That is what the SA node, AV node, and this is SA node, the AV node, and the atrioventricular bundle. Okay, this bundle all further divides into bundle branches and so this cardiac conduction system, I used the diagram in your book and the resource book. Please depend only on the resource book for the theory. So this is the diagram in your book. I'll explain step by step like a story so that you might remember. So starting with SA node is the sinoatrial node. The first thing that you have to know about the heart is, okay, it is independent of the nervous system, independent of the central nervous system. That means it can create its own impulses and control the activity of the heart. Okay, which means, but still, it is responsive to the autonomic nervous system. Okay, that means it will respond to parasympathetic nervous system at times, and then sympathetic nervous system. What will parasympathetic do? It will decrease the heart rate, and sympathetic will increase the heart rate. And then in addition to that, so respond to hormones like adrenaline, which might increase the heart rate due to the increase in metabolism. Okay, starting with SA node here, this is the SA node. Okay, this is called the pacemaker of the heart. What do you think is a pacemaker? Since we have only a little number of students, I think they'll be pretty much happy to receive answers. So what's a pacemaker? All right. Okay, I'll okay. Pacemaker of the heart is something that will create its own impulses, and it will initiate the impulse and then set the rhythm for the heartbeat. Okay, that is of the heart because it can initiate its own impulses, and according to the signals received by parasympathetic or sympathetic, or depending on the hormone that is acting on it, it can react and then set the rhythm of the heartbeat, whether the heartbeat should be faster or whether the heartbeat should be slower. So when you write answers, like for essay note, a group of specialized cells, where is it present? It's present in the myocardium of the right atrium, and the position close to the opening of the superior vena cava. This is the superior vena cava, and here it will be, there will be the opening of the superior vena cava, and you have the SA node close to the opening of the superior vena cava. So that's it about SA node. And then the SA node, the impulses from the SA node will travel through the entire atria, both the atria, the right and the left atria, and this contraction will reach the AV node. The AV node is here. The AV node. This is also a group of specialized cells that is present in the septum, interatrial septum. This is left atrium and this is right atrium. The septum present in between the atria are called the interatrial septum. And this is present in the interatrial septum. Atria impulses from the SA node. Once it's stimulated, there will be a small delay, and then it will transmit it to the AV. What is the job of the AV bundle? These are fibers. What I told about SA node and AV node are their specialized group of cells. Okay, and when it comes to AV bundle branches and Purkinje fibers, they are specialized masses of fibers. Okay, this AV bundle will start at the AV node and it will transmit the impulse from the AV node to the ventricles through the bundle branches. You have the left bundle branch here, the right bundle branch here, and these are the Purkinje. And what you'll have to know is, why does the AV bundle has to transmit the impulse from the AV node to the bundle? Because there's a fibrous ring, so electrical impulses are controlled from the atria to the ventricles. So the impulses, the electrical impulses, have to cross that barrier and has to be sent to the ventricles. And then, like, that is pretty much about the cardiac conduction. This is a node, This is the AB node. This is AB bundle. It's a bundle of fibers, and then this is bundle branches. These two. Okay. This was the right vertical, and you have the Purkinje fibers. So what you'll have to know about this is some special things. You know, like everything starts like a group of specialized cells or group of specialized fibers. So when you have to write about a cell, you start with cell that is a node is a group of specialized cells. In the myocardium near the opening of the right atrium near the opening of the superior vena cava. And then you're going to write the special feature. It is the pacemaker. And then what else?
Excuse
What
me.
does it do? The action. Allah. Sorry. Okay, give me a second. Can you hear me now? Fine. Am I clear enough? Thank you so much. Is my screen still visible for you? Okay, it's still not clear. Okay, is my screen visible? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I don't know where I stopped. Where did you all lose me? Okay, from the beginning. Oh my God. Oh, all right. I'm sorry. I'm extremely sorry. All right. So cardiac system has some components. Okay, sorry, the conduction system of the cardiac cycle. Okay, a conduction system is like the electrical activity of the heart. It has some components in the heart. So it is composed of the SA node, the AV node, and the AV bundle. Okay, the AV bundle further divides to form the bundle branches and Purkinje fibers. Am I Am I audible now? And you all can see my screen, yeah? All right. So starting with SA node, AV bundle branches, let me explain. Okay, let me explain one by one. Okay, now SA node, like this, you all have to remember when it comes to a structure, there's no taking back, there's no forgetting. You're going to write step by step, you're going to write everything. Okay, you know the structure of the heart. By now, you must be like very fluent in the right, left side, the atria, the ventricle, the valves, the superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, the valves, the semilunar valves, the arteries leaving from the aorta. I mean, the heart, aorta, and the pulmonary artery. So apart from that, now when you see the conduction system of the heart, the components are SA node, AV node, and AV bundle. The SA node is a mass of specialized cells. Again, these are cells. SA node and AV node are mass of specialized cells. The bundles, once it comes to the bundles, AV bundles, or you can also call it the bundle of His. Okay, bundle branches and then Purkinje fibers. These are fibers, now you call it specialized group of fibers. Okay, that is how you give an introduction. Okay, SA node now I'm starting with SA node again. Is a specialized mass of cells. Where is it located now? It is located in the right atrium, in the myocardium, near the opening of the superior vena cava. Okay, it is located in the myocardium, in the right atrium, near the opening of the superior vena cava. You know, this is superior vena cava and this is inferior vena cava. Okay, and you call this the pacemaker of the heart. SA node is called the pacemaker of the heart. Why is it called the pacemaker of the heart? Because it has the ability to generate its own impulses. Okay, I lost you all from the beginning, so I have to tell this. Okay. When you take the conduction system of the heart, vital that you mentioned, it is independent of the nervous system. It's independent of the nervous, like you can say, nervous system, nervous or hormonal system. You don't always need it. Okay, it can generate its own impulses and make the atria contract, the ventricle contracts, and it will relax by itself and then again start contracting. But however, the rhythm of the heart or the action of the heart can be controlled by the autonomic nervous system, that is sympathetic and parasympathetic. What the sympathetic supply to the heart does? It will increase the heart rate. That means heart rate is the number of beats per minute, right? It will increase the heart rate, and parasympathetic will decrease the heart rate. The fight or flight response and the rest and digest response. And then it will also is responsive to circulating hormones. Adrenaline and thyroxine, like mostly what they do is they increase the metabolism. This will increase the heart rate because heart has to pump more blood. Now, I told you the heart can generate is generated by the SA node. That is in it. or it can go beyond the normal also. So what happens, I'll tell this like a story and give you all a quick revision on what you all have to write. I mean, like for the exams, how you all have to approach the question. So SA node will generate impulses, and this will send impulses to the heart muscles in the atria. The impulse will travel through the heart muscles in the atria. And what happens? This will cause the atria to contract. Okay, this will cause the atria to contract, and the atria will contract. When this reaches, these impulses will reach the AV node. When the impulses reaches the AV node here, there will be a small delay, whereas the job of the AV node is to transmit impulse atria to the ventricle. Once the atria is contracted, then the ventricle should contract. So the impulse is sent via the AV node. AV node will transmit the impulses from the atria to the ventricles through the AV bundle. So there will be a small delay in the transmission of AV node. And then the impulse will go through the bundle branches. It will divide into left bundle branch and the right bundle branch. So this is the common bundle branch, or you can call it the bundle of His. The impulse will travel through the left bundle branch and right bundle branch, and will go through the Purkinje fibers to the myocardium in the ventricles. Now what will happen? Now this will go from, let's say this is apex of the heart. Now the impulse will travel like this, outwards and upwards the heart, and the atria will contract, pushing blood into the pulmonary artery and the air. So this is like an overview of the conduction system.
No, miss.
Okay. Hello, can you all hear me? Am I clear? Is it lagging again? Okay, it's not. Can I get more responses so that I can continue? Oh, all right. Thank you so much. So I think you would have heard about the SA node, AV node, the bundle of Higgs, the bundle branches, and the Purkinje fibers. So once you start writing, you start with telling that it's a mass or a group of specialized cells or group of specialized fibers, because it's not like any other cardiac muscle. It's not like any other cardiac muscle cell. It is
So you
specialized.
need to screen share.
Sorry?
You need to screen share again.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. Okay, yes. All right. Is my screen visible? Is my screen visible?
Yes,
Yeah,
miss.
it's visible.
Thank you so much. So yes, the SA node, you have to start with telling that it's a group of specialized cells or fibers or anything. If it's bundle branches, if it's about AV bundle, then it's a specialized group of fibers. And then you have to tell its location. Now, where is the SA node? SA node is present in the right atrium in the myocardium near the opening of superior vena cava. In the AV node is present. I don't know whether you all heard it at the first time when I told you all. So AV node is present in the interatrial septum or atrial septum. It is this wall that is separating the left atrium from the right. Okay. So AV node is present in the interatrial septum. And what it does, it will transmit the impulse from the SA node to the bundle branches. Okay, for the ventricles to contract. An AV bundle, if you have to say, it's a group of specialized fibers, it will transmit the impulse carry the impulse from the AV node to the ventricles through the Purkinje fibers and bundle branches. So why do you need AV node and bundle branches? Okay, I'm telling this again, because there's a fibrous ring. Because separating the atria and ventricle and even the interventricular septum. This is the interventricular septum. Between the septum, between the ventricles, you have the septum. This is called the interventricular septum. In the upper part of the interventricular septum is also a fibrous membrane. So the impulse won't cross the fibrous membrane. The impulse will transmit from a muscle cell to another muscle cell. Here the cardiac muscle cell to another cardiac muscle cell. It will cause the contraction of the muscle and atrial stop there. And this contraction or the impulse won't spread it to the ventricles because of the fibrous ring. This is called the fibrous ring. All right. Conduction system of the heart. Do you all have any doubt?
Excuse me, miss. Miss.
Yes, please. Yeah,
Miss,
I can hear
Miss,
you.
you said the heart has a like it's independent from the central nervous system, right?
Yeah.
So how does hormone work on heart, Miss? Like how
So,
does it increases the heartbeat?
okay, hormones, like, the definitions of hormones, right? It is secreted from one side and travel through the blood and act on another side. Okay, this hormones also has an impact on SA node, which will increase or decrease the heart rate. Okay, do you get me?
Okay, Miss, I think I got it.
So, any other questions? Since you all are not responding, I assume that you all don't have any questions. All right, so let's move to the other part of the session today. So it's about cardiac cycle. So basically, every one of y'all might know the definition, but still, let me rephrase it. Let's tell it y'all again. So it's the sequence of events in a complete heartbeat. Okay. Okay, the sequence of events that takes place in a complete heartbeat is called the cardiac cycle. Okay, where else do you come across cycles? In cell division, is it like sequence of events that takes place from one end of cell division to the beginning of the next or end of the next? I can't remember. All right, so the sequence of events taking place in a complete heartbeat relax the ventricles relax. So like, this is like very very brief like introduction that I can give about the cardiac cycle. So here you all need to know about the duration, what happens, and how that opens and everything. So for that, here, the heart valves open or close in response to pressure difference. That's a key point that you have to remember. Okay, let me start, like, remember this as a story, and let me start with one point. Okay. Excuse my drawing. So this is the heart. At least think of it as a heart. I think it's pretty much clear like a heart. Okay. The walls. Okay. I lost you all again. Can somebody specify with where did you all lose me? Which is the last part I did? Am I audible? Okay, okay. Heart structure, fine. Thank you so much for drawing the heart. All right, this is the heart. And I think I told you, yeah. Fine. I have to tell you one more thing about the heart rate and the stroke volume. Okay, the heart rate, you know what is the heart rate, okay? It's the number of beats per minute. The normal heart rate is 60 to 80 beats per minute. Yes, you all remember. Okay, the normal heart rate is 60 to 80 beats. It's the amount of blood that the one beat. It says a ventricle, which means it can be either ventricle, not both the ventricles. To say both the ventricles, it's wrong. Wait. So yeah. So I'll move into the cardiac cycle now. I told about the heart rate and the stroke volume. The cardiac cycle, let's start at one point. We can say the atrial systole happens first or the ventricular systole happens first. It's a cycle. So here I'll start with atrial systole. Atrial systole means contraction. Atrial systole means atrial contraction. Okay, so what happens is the blood returns to the heart from superior and inferior vena cava. The blood returns to the heart. Okay, this returning happens during relaxation. What happens? The blood returns to the heart. When the blood returns to the heart, the SA node here is stimulated. In response to the stimulation, the SA node will send an impulse to the myocardium, through the myocardium of the heart, atria, to contract. The SA node will be stimulated, and then a wave of contraction will spread throughout the entire atria, both the right atrium and the left atrium, and they will contract. Now tell me, first of all, when the blood, okay, let's say the heart is empty. It won't be empty. Let's say the heart is empty. What happens is the atria contracts. Before atria contracts, the blood comes and the SA node is stimulated. Before it contracts, what happens? The pressure in the atria is greater than the pressure in the ventricles. Here the pressure is greater than the pressure in the ventricles. So what happens? What is the valve here? The tricuspid valve. the tricuspid valve will open and the blood flow will happen. This flow of blood that happens before the atria contracts is called the passive flow. Most of the blood goes from the atria to the ventricle passively only, not during active contraction of the atria. Actually, 70% of the blood flows passively from the atria to the ventricles. This is due to the pressure difference. The tricuspid valve opens. So what happens? The blood comes in, it increases the pressure in the atria, the tricuspid valve opens, and the blood goes to the ventricles passively. And there's some remaining blood also in the atria, the 30%. What happens? This 30% will go to the ventricles during contraction of the atria. Fine. The atria will contract and then the blood will go to the ventricles. Okay, the blood here also will go to the ventricles. And what happens? Okay, this is the pulmonary artery. And this is the aorta, the left ventricle, right ventricle. So what happens? The blood goes into the ventricles. And now the SA node gets stimulated. It will pass the impulse through the myocardium and causes a contraction of the atria. And where does the impulse go and reach? It will reach the AV node. And there's a small delay in the AV node before it transmits the impulses quickly to the ventricles. There's a fraction of a second, in a millisecond. Okay, there's a delay. This delay, okay, this is very important. This is useful because it will help the atria to contract, empty completely. It will help the emptying of the atria into the ventricles. The atria will empty into the ventricles, and what happens? Completely. And then the impulse will travel through the AV node to the bundle bundle branches and Purkinje fibers, and it will reach the apex. And from the apex, there will be an upward contraction, upward and actually outward contraction of the ventricles. And okay, this upward and outward contraction of the ventricles happens. Before that, the blood comes itself. The pressure in the ventricles are greater than the pressure in the atria. So the tricuspid valve will close and the mitral valve will also close. Then the pressure increases in the ventricles, the tricuspid valve and the mitral valve close. And these valves, the semilunar valves, the pulmonary valve and the aortic valve will open like this. And during contraction of the ventricle, the blood gushes through the pulmonary artery and the aorta. Aorta takes the blood to the systemic circulation and pulmonary artery takes the blood to the pulmonary circulation. Am I clear? Did I make sense at all? Yes, thank you. So this is about atrial systole and ventricular systole. Systole means contraction. I should tell you all the duration of the atrial systole to just take 0.1 second, and ventricular systole will take 0.3 seconds. Atrial systole will take 0.1 seconds and ventricular systole, the time duration is just 0.3 seconds. And then there's complete cardiac relaxation. Okay, complete cardiac relaxation is when both the atria and the ventricles relax. What happens during this relaxation is the relaxation takes longer than the other two events. This is 0.4 seconds. Atria also relax and the ventricles relax. What happens during this time? I told you earlier, the blood enters the atria through the superior and inferior vena cava. And from where does the blood enter to the left atrium? I need answer for this. I didn't mention it. I'm just checking your knowledge on this. From where does the blood enters into the left atrium? Can someone answer? Okay. Yeah. From the lungs, it enters through pulmonary veins. The pulmonary veins will bring the oxygenated or oxygen-rich blood from the lungs to the left atrium. This oxygen-rich blood will then go to the left ventricle and then to the aorta and then to the rest of the body. So this is pretty simple. If you all understand the step by step, this is how the blood goes. This is like, mostly the right side of the heart deals with oxygen poor blood and the left side deals with oxygen rich blood. I won't say deoxygenated blood because it is not completely out of oxygen. Okay, it's oxygen poor blood and oxygen rich blood. So again, okay, there are three events that takes place. There are three main events that takes place in the complete cardiac cycle. The atrial systole. Sorry. Okay, by chance, if my screen is not visible for you anymore, just let me know. Atrial systole, the ventricular systole, and the complete cardiac diastole. They are both the atria and the ventricles relaxes. And when the blood comes, it stimulates the SA node and then it will send impulses through the myocardium throughout the entire atria, and then atria contracts. Before that, you have to say when the blood comes to the, the blood comes to the atria, and then the pressure in the atria increases. Therefore, passive blood flow will happen to ventricles. And then blood in the atria will stimulate SA node. Impulse travels throughout the myocardium. Of both atria. And then atrial contraction, that is atrial systole. This lasts for 0.1 seconds. Then what happens from there? The AV node. Just make sure there's a small delay. And then AV bundle. Bundle of His. You can call it the bundle of His also. Remember the name. Left and right bundle branches. And then Purkinje fibers. And then the myocardium. Okay, goes from the apex, it sweeps. Contraction. Sweeps. Upwards. And outwards. And what happens? The pressure in ventricles is greater than pressure in pulmonary artery and the aorta. So the semilunar valves, all the aortic and pulmonary valves open and the blood will go to the aorta and pulmonary artery. So this ventricular contraction takes around 3 seconds. After that, what happens? Complete cardiac diastole. This is when the blood comes to the atria. from both pulmonary veins and the superior pulmonary veins to the left atrium, superior and inferior veins to the right atrium. All right, that's about cardiac cycle. You have another small part remaining. So did you understand until there? Any questions? Okay. Okay, Nation and Aisha, thank you for your responses. How about others? Yanuha, thank you. Okay, Ahmad. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, people. So let's move on to the next part. It's about ECG. Okay, you all know how ECGs are taken? ECG stands for electrocardiogram. Okay, electrocardiogram. So let's say, okay, this is kind of interesting because maybe this is something clinical. So when a person lies like this, you place electrodes on his chest. This is a person, okay? And you place electrodes on his chest, then limbs, hand, and legs, okay? All 4 limbs and chest. Okay, you place electrodes and you inspect the cardiac activity, okay? So you apply some gel to the electrodes and place it on the skin. There are some specific places you have to keep the electrodes. And then in the ECG machine, you will get a pattern. This is the normal pattern. Okay, the T wave should be, this is T wave P. By convention, that means that is the rule. You have 5 waves. In an ECG pattern, this is ECG, you can see 5 waves. Okay, that is one is P, then QRS, all 3 together, you call it as a complex. And then T wave. All right, so these waves each represents the electrical activity of the heart, like the impulses, like depolarization and repolarization. You all know what is depolarization and what is repolarization. You all might have studied this under the nervous system, the nerves. Depolarization and repolarization, where the depolarization where sodium plus influx, A plus E flux happen, so that the, what do you call, the interior of the cell is maintained negative. So this depolarization, repolarization is similar to that, but there's calcium involved. In nervous system, the calcium is not involved. You all don't have to know in detail about this, but then just have an idea. Because one thing you all have to remember, this will tell this, the ECG pattern will tell you the electrical activity of the heart, not the muscular, the physics, not the physical activity. This will tell you whether the, what do you call, whether the electrical impulse is being transmitted. It doesn't tell you whether the atria contracts, but we know when the SA node transmits the impulses, the atria, there should be a depolarization in the atria, which will cause a contraction. Okay. So P wave will tell us atrial depolarization of the atria. And then QRS complex, this is ventricular depolarization. And T wave is a repolarization. of ventricles. Here we don't talk about the atrial repolarization because during the QRS complex, atrial repolarization happens. But due to the higher the intensity of the ventricular depolarization, we don't see the atrial repolarization. So again, the P wave represents the impulse, atrial depolarization. So what is the impulse for atrial depolarization from the SA node to the atria? Okay, it will represent the impulse that travels from the SA node over the atria. That is atrial depolarization. And then QRS complex represents the impulse from the AV node throughout the ventricles. And it will tell you the electrical activity of the ventricles. That is ventricular depolarization. And finally, the T wave represents ventricular repolarization. We can call it the relaxation of the ventricular muscles. All right, what does the ECG tell you all about? One thing, it will tell you all about the state of myocardium, the heart. And then cardiac conduction. Okay. These waves should be seen in an individual. This won't be perfect. You can see a small P like this, then a QRS, then a T wave like this. But then there should not be elevation of this, should not change. By calculating this, we can diagnose the disease first, whether it's anterior or posterior, anything like that. Okay, cardiac conduction system. Okay, the atrial and ventricular repolarization will happen if only your myocardium is in a good condition. All right, so that is about the ECG. Give you all a quick recap on this. ECG is electrocardiogram. This will be monitored using an electrical device where the electrodes are attached to the chest and the limbs, okay, the skin, over the skin of a person to monitor the cardiac activity of the heart. Okay, and this is an extra point. Okay, I'll tell that later. Okay, and conventionally there are 5 waves. These 5 waves are P, that's 1, that's taken as 1. QRS, that's taken as 3 waves, and T wave. P wave represents atrial depolarization. What is the impulse? The impulse starts from the SA node and sweeps across the atria. QRS will show you the it comes to the ventricles. And T wave is hidden under QRS. And you all should know the heart rate. Okay, there's a rhythm strip that comes with ECG. You can use that. Very small part under circulatory system. Oh, nervous system. Don't remember pretty much about the nervous system, but then I'll try a little bit. But before that, so, like, always try to explain using those terms. And then what else? Honestly, I don't remember much about the nervous system. I don't even know what's there, but I'll tell about the depolarization. Before that, is everybody is it still lagging? Now, am I clear now? Okay. Like this. Am I audible? Can you all hear me? Is it clear now or still lagging? Okay, I'll start sharing the screen. Is my screen visible now? Okay. So since any of you all didn't have any questions much, I'll go with what somebody asked me about to explain, give a quick recap on nervous system. Honestly, I don't remember much, but I think you got that because of depolarization and repolarization. So like what happens is in a nerve cells, Na plus, when it comes in, okay, now there's something called the resting membrane potential, and interior of the cell is mostly positive compared to the outside, extracellular. Okay, the intercellular the environment, the intercellular environment is mostly negative because of the ions that is present inside, and because of the difference in distribution. There are like 3 reasons I think in your resource book about the size of the anions or something, and then the difference in the distribution of anions and those stuff. So they're unequally distributed, so the interior of a cell is generally negative. what happens when sodium comes in, this becomes positive and positive because sodium is a positive ion. So you get a curve like this. First of all, this is the resting membrane potential. This will be around 70, I think. Minus 70 millivolts. And then when the sodium enters, this come back to the normal because there's something called the threshold level until which is reached. If the stimulus isn't strong enough for the impulse to reach the threshold, then there won't be a action potential. Okay, what happens? It becomes positive and impulse reaches the threshold level and then overshoot happens. And then comes down. This coming down. Okay, this is due to sodium sodium coming inside the cell. This coming down part is due to K plus efflux. Now we know the concentration of K plus inside the cell is greater than outside. Therefore, more K plus is inside. Impulse, the potential will come towards the negative value. Okay. And then what happens? These are slow channels. The K plus channels are slow channels. What happens? It will keep on going out and out. And then even when the resting membrane potential is reached, the K plus will be going on when all the K plus channels are closed, completely closed. The action potential will reach the resting membrane potential. So this is okay. This sodium influx happens at one point, and there are nodes of run wire, right? This happens only in the nodes of run wire in myelinated neuron. This like impulses, okay, and this will pass in the conduction, and this is what happens. Okay, I remember only this much. So I think this will be useful for you. Just go through everything in the book because I think we have to do a little bit of question on the and okay, this is it's a classified structure book that I got from my juniors. So I marked everything about the cardiac cycle, all the questions on cardiac cycle, but then I will be not doing everything today. Just go through because all these things I think you can. Okay, these are way old past papers, 1991 and all. But then okay, we'll try to do the important, the one that is related to us today, and then let's give it a try on everything. Enough practice when you go to the exam. So let's start with this question. Okay. Is it lagging again? How about now? Is it still the same? Am I clear or lagging? Madam, am I lagging? Can you hear me? All right, yeah, that makes sense. So, like, no point of me talking about the doing questions if you all can't hear me properly. So, how do I sound now? This is awkward. Okay, still, do you want me to speak something continuously? No, all right, I'm clear. Thank you so much, Rahma. So let's try give these questions a try. These are very old questions, but it's okay. More practice, more perfect. Okay, explain the term pacemaker. Now, pacemaker, what is pacemaker? You're gonna like for this kind of questions, mostly you're gonna give. Okay, we didn't study exactly what pacemaker is, but then we studied what SA node is, and SA node is a pacemaker. So what you're going to write is a group of specialized cells that can initiate its own impulses and set a rhythm. Pacemaker cells are present in the SA node of the heart. The second question is name the pacemaker cell. When you see the question like this, you don't have to write the same thing on top because biology part 2 normally you run out of time. So name the pacemaker of the heart is SA node. Now pacemaker cell is a mass of specialized cells that has the ability initiate and control impulse and setting the rhythm. Okay. When I'm not sure about an answer, just write everything what you know. And what is bundle of his and where it is found? What is it? It is a group of specialized fibers. Okay, that's it. That's enough. Okay, or else you can write it's a group of specialized fibers that transmit impulses from the AV node to the ventricles. Okay, where is it found? It is found in the interatrial, interventricular, or ventricular septum, the fibrous ring. Function of the bundle of His, we wrote it again. It will transmit the or relay the impulse from the AV node to the bundle branches. So to the ventricles, it will take part in the contraction of ventricles. Okay, name the vessel. This question. Can somebody answer? Name the vessel that supplies blood to the heart. Give me answers. So what is a vessel that supplies blood to the heart? All right. It's okay. Vessel that supplies blood to the heart is different from vessel that brings oxygen poor blood back to the heart. Okay, apart from inferior vena cava, superior vena cava, and pulmonary veins, this is for the left atrium, this is for the right atrium. There are some vessels that originate from the aorta and supply the heart muscles. So heart also needs some blood to work, right? So the heart muscles are supplied with oxygenated blood by the coronary arteries. You call them coronary arteries. Same like that. The lungs, for the lungs, okay, oxygen poor blood is taken to the, let's say this is the lungs. Okay, oxygen poor blood is taken to both the lungs via pulmonary artery. And oxygen rich blood is brought back to the heart via pulmonary veins. Okay, but then the heart muscles also need the heart parenchyma, the heart muscles. They need some blood, oxygenated blood for its function. How does it work? They are supplied by bronchial arteries. So again, see, this type of questions can come for y'all. So what else? Mostly the scheme answers won't tally with your syllabus now, but still you can find answers from your resource book and then write answers. Okay, you should know the answers. See, explain why blood circulatory system developed during evolution of animals. So you will have to talk about earlier how the blood, okay, the circulatory system was. Okay, the animals were so simple and they were not very complex, and they were the gas exchange or the blood cell, the cells of the bodies of the animals were in close proximity to the surface, so that they could even, like, the simple diffusion of gases were enough for them. And later what happens, the surface area to volume ratio increases. Everything you should be able to write. And then the need for a circulatory system arises. Again, you might, like, by this time you might know what is open circulatory system, closed circulatory system, and then there's the single circulation, double circulation, incomplete double, complete double, right? So, and then you should know the animals with 3-chambered heart, 2-chambered heart, 4-chambered heart. So, all right, now let's try this question again. See, what is pacemaker of the heart? Now here they're asking, what is the pacemaker of the heart? So what is the pacemaker of the heart? SA node. Okay, where is the pacemaker located? I told you all this several times. Can somebody give me an answer? Either you all can unmute or you can just send me a message. Okay, close to the opening of superior vena cava in the right atrium on the myocardium. There are people giving different parts of the answers. Thank you so much for your response. Again, in the myocardium, 3 points. Just remember all these 3 points. Myocardium of the right atrium. Anything related to that? Near the opening of what are the major events taking place in a human heart during completion of one heartbeat? Actually given you the definition of cardiac cycle. Sequence of events taking place in a complete heartbeat. The cardiac cycle. The events, there are 3. Atrial systole, ventricular systole, and complete cardiac diastole. To this, you have to know what is the blood pressure of a normal healthy adult at rest. Just come up with answers. Yes, the values were correct. That's 120 by 80 millimeters mercury. You have to write the units. And this is systolic blood pressure. This is diastolic blood pressure. On top, you have the systolic blood pressure. On the bottom, you have diastolic blood pressure. And then, wait, I don't think I came across more questions here. All right, here. All right, what is double circulation? Okay, that is when the blood travels, okay, let's say this is the heart. Okay, it goes to the lungs. This is the lungs, okay? Actually, it goes from the right atrium like this, comes to the left atrium like this, and then goes to the ventricle. And from the ventricle, it goes to the systemic circulation. This is systemic circulation and goes here. This is one complete cycle. Okay, during a complete cycle around the body, the blood travels through the heart twice. This is why it is called the double circulation. All right. Okay, you might have to kind of memorize, but then know the key terms. This you can remember. No? So this is what I taught you all today. ECG of a normal healthy adult person is given below. You can see this. And then state what is represented by each of the P, QRS, and T. What are you going to write? P is, again. Are you going to write atrial systole or atrial depolarization? Atrial systole is the action of the muscle. But electrical activity is actually depolarization. Atrial depolarization. Ventricular depolarization. Complete cardiac repolarization. Sorry, ventricular repolarization. Ventricular repolarization. So if I have to tell you, let's say P wave is atrial repolarization, right? So after, like, let's say we are keeping a time, we are like looking at the ECG, and in the meantime, we are able to see the person of, okay, that doesn't happen, maybe in a surgery or so, we are able to see how the heart works. And if you like, actually what happens is once the P wave comes, atrial depolarization, after a short time only the contraction happens. There's a fraction of a second, the delay, there's a delay. Once the P wave is complete, then only the contraction of atria happens. So that I'm trying to tell the difference between the actual contraction and the depolarization. And then there's another question about SA node and AV node. They're asking the functions of SA node and AV node. See, there are questions. They tested you all pretty simple things. Functions, SA node will initiate the impulses and sets the rhythm of the heartbeat. AV node is just a transmission function. And then they're asking you to draw the normal ECG. You draw the P wave, you draw the QRS, and then T wave. Make sure T wave is smaller than the P wave. State what are represented by the first and last wave, P and T. You can do that. Okay, that's it. So, guys, do you all have any questions? I'm extremely sorry for the connection issues today. I know it would be boring to keep up with the same focus when there are connection issues. But alhamdulillah, finally we have done it. All right. So, you're welcome. Okay, there are 24 batch people also. Thank you, Atia. Thank you, Ahmed. Okay, let me know if you all have any questions. Thank you. You're welcome.